guys, Eddie here from Next Chapter Homestead, and today I'm out in the garden as usual. So I'm actually out here at the moment in the heat of the day, but I'm going around to harvest some herbs, and then a little bit later when things cool down I'm going to be attacking this bed, but I'll explain that to you shortly. This is where I'm going to be starting today. I've got this thyme plant over here that I want to harvest, as well as this oregano and this hidden thyme plant over here. As you can see, the oregano is actually growing over into this thyme plant and smothering it slightly. So I'm just going to trim them both back, and hopefully they'll give us one last push for the summer season. So I've just brought the sage through from the drive area, and whilst it normally lives out there, I do quite like the look of it being in here, just sitting with the other herbs, so I think it'll stay. Here on my table I've got some seeds that I've started recently. I'm trying my luck by growing this zucchini, the golden zucchini and the regular zucchini. They are a little bit late in the season, but since our autumn is quite a mild one and our frost date comes quite late in the year, I think we may actually be able to have a long enough season to get a second planting and harvest in. Some of the other seeds I've got here are calendulas. None of them have come up so far. And I've got some Swiss chard here. Broccoli, kohlrabi, we've got 2 rows. And we even have some opal basil coming up here in our other cells. We've got a few kale plants. Some parsley that we started. Only looks like one has come up. Not the end of the world though. One is better than none. And then we've got some Brussels sprouts that have come up as well. In these 2 cells I planted cheddar cauliflower and Ashley cucumbers, and unfortunately none of them have come up, so we're going to replant those soon. And I will be planting seeds out for the autumn and winter garden really soon, so don't forget to subscribe, like and share so that we can all start growing our gardens together, because it's not too late to start a garden in autumn. Over here we've got our tomato plants, the last of our money makers. As you can see, there are some fruits on here, but the plant itself, just get closer, is sickly, as you can see. So what we want to do is, or at least me, I'm going to come around and pick my fruits. I'm going to take all the red ones off and those that are starting to blush, and I will forego the 3 green tomatoes. There's not going to be enough of a season for this little green tomato to ripen anyway, so I'm going to just take it off. As far as this moneymaker plant goes, also not in its greatest health condition, but we may leave a few of the tomatoes on here and see if they actually ripen. Down here we have some purple king bush beans. These are really fun to grow if you've got kids, because they are purple on the outside, but when you cook them they go back to green. So they're like a magic bean that changes color. I have a few more here, so we'll probably just tilt those, let them stand upright, get the air that they need. Then today, these pepper plants we've harvested, so we will be removing them. We're not going to try and overwinter them because we didn't actually want peppers in the first place. We wanted jalapenos. But what that means is that this space over here is actually becoming available. Now I do have stepping stones in this garden that can lead me to where I need to be. I've got a few scattered through the garden. But what I'd like to do is remove these stepping stones, lift them, and then replace them. So the plan is to create a small wave in the garden and lead them into each other and remove those stepping stones, so that this autumn when I do fill out the garden, I will be planting it in a more farm market style organized manner instead of this beautiful chaos. I do love it, don't get me wrong, this is how I choose to garden, but I think for productivity and for a lot of the crops that we're growing, it would be beneficial to see how they do in growing in a more linear fashion. So before I get like full on into starting to harvest these herbs, I want to show you what my general rule of thumb is when it comes to the actual harvesting of your thyme. So as you can see, this time has one main stem with a couple of branches coming off of it. So just remember when you are pruning to leave some space for some growth. So I'm going to come through and I'm going to cut it off just there, knowing that both of these little shoots will potentially branch out and make more branches. Now you don't have to be finicky and cut each individual stem off. You could look for something like this where you know it's got 3 branches, so you're just going to cut it a little bit lower, leaving the potential for new branches, and you with your harvest. Down here I've actually got an empty container, and if you followed along on the journey on Instagram, I actually planted this full of herbs, but they didn't make it because we had another volunteer plant growing in this container, and we let that plant grow to its full capacity and then we pulled it out. So some of the herbs that were underneath suffered a little bit, and it wasn't in the greatest location. So we're going to replant this, and hopefully this year we can turn this entire area into a beautiful herb garden. We're going to rework the pattern to somehow have more of a central path through the garden and have plants clearly on one side and plants on the other, both within reaching distance. So I haven't quite nailed down how exactly, but now you have a better idea of how the path will run. It'll have a round stepping stone here, and it will meander through the garden to meet up with the pathway over here. Obviously it is a bit overgrown at the moment, but as we plant out the new things, we will see how they fit in. So the plan is then I'll come out tomorrow and complete this pathway, level it out as best I can, and in this space over here that we've got from the peppers that we're growing here, we've actually started some onion seeds, and they are just about big enough to go into the ground, so we're going to put them in here. Good morning guys, Ellie here from the garden again, and today I'm working on the pathway in the vegetable patch, and I'm going to show you what I still need and what my plans are. Let's have a look. This is where we're currently at. We have this first stepping stone here, which I like, that once you step directly off the concrete into the actual garden, the very first step you take is solid. But I don't think that this particular square fits with my design idea, my aesthetic if you will. So the plan is to swap this particular one for a round one. Then have 2 bricks and a square paver, much like this path piece. Another brick and then a big path, a big paver. Then the pattern continues again until we hit this grey paver underneath what we've got going on here. On the opposite side of the garden, right over here, we actually have a gate. So we've had some steppers in, but they haven't really provided a stable, clearly demarcated walkway, which is essentially what I'm after. So what I want to do is I want to create a way for us to step from this line garden across onto our pathway and walk through our fully accessible vegetable patch. And at the moment it isn't that, but we do have a new season coming and we have new seedlings going in, and old plants coming out, which is going to open up a fair amount of space for us. So we're going to do our best to try and make the space work. So the plan is to build an adequate pathway, something that I'm content with today, so that we can walk in and out of our garden without damaging our plants. In this walkway, as you can see, some of the bricks are actually being covered up since I've done the compost. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove these 4 red bricks because they're kind of janky anyway, and I'm going to use them to bulk up this pathway and see if we can get a better spacing option going. But then I will have the center paver of my walkway that doesn't have bricks. But as far as I'm aware, we have a few more of these bricks here, the grey ones, and I can use those along the edges, and then that would keep this path looking more or less uniform. Alright, so I'm going to start with this pathway now. I'm going to work my way over to the front over here and just lift those 2 round pavers, and let's see how we go. Okay guys, so I'm going to start on the far end of the garden over there and work my way towards you. Well guys, there we have it. I have officially laid a path. I'm just going to go around and water my garden now and watch how it settles, and if it needs it I'll come back and do a little bit more adjusting. Hey guys, so we did it. Today I built a pathway, and I'm gonna say it for myself, I think it looks pretty cool and I'm proud of myself. So let's see how this works out. Maybe the space is a little bit better used now, and I've already started with the new space by transplanting out some of my onions. So I just wanted to say thanks for hanging out with me today guys. I really did enjoy myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and we hope to see you on the next one. Have a great weekend guys. Bye.